Hello dear students and welcome back to English with Professor Tabassum. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the most easy answers for final exams for Inter first year English. And this video is especially for those students who face a lot of difficulty in writing and learning answers and they tend to fail in English. So for those students, this video is being made wherein every answer is divided into points. So the method is that if you divide information into small points, then you can remember it more. Okay, but in the exam, you can write it like a paragraph. So let us begin. The first lesson is the first 4 minutes. The lesson's name is The First 4 Minutes. It was written by Roger Bannister. He was an English athlete and medical professional. He was the first man to win 1 mile race in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. He won in Amateur Athletic Association at Oxford University. He won on 6th May 1954. He won in front of 1200 people watching the race. He broke the record of Gunnar Hags of Sweden. That was 4 minutes and 1.3 seconds. It was his own decision to participate in the race. He was worried in the race, but he heard voice of his coach, Franz Stampfel, saying, "Relax." Roger became calm and won the race and felt supreme happiness after winning. The message of the lesson is that if we work hard with willpower, then we can get success. So always try to write a message at the end of your answer. Let us move on to the next one. Now this is from Box and Cox, one act play. This is again a prose lesson. Let us see the answer. The lesson's name is Box and Cox, one act play. It was written by John Madison Morton. He wrote 1 act plays, 2 act plays and 3 act plays. Mrs. Bouncer is a greedy lady who has a lodge room. She gives a room on rent to 2 people at the same time without telling them to get double rent. Mr. Box is a printer and will stay in the room during daytime. Mr. Cox is a hatter and will stay in the room during night time. They notice things in the house are disappearing. They think Mrs. Bouncer is using their things, so they complain to her, but she always makes excuses. One day Mr. Cox does not go to work and he sees Mr. Box in his room and they fight. Mrs. Bouncer tells them the truth that she did this all for money. Mrs. Bouncer is a greedy lady, vivacious lady and venerable female. She later says sorry and Mr. Box and Cox decide to share the room. The message of the lesson is don't use wrong methods to earn money. Let us move on to the next one. Next one, Keep Going. The poem's name is Keep Going. It was written by Edgar Albert Guest. He was an American poet. He has written for 30 years for the Detroit Free Press. He is known as the people's poet. He says that if we face problems, we must keep going. We must not lose hope. He says life is strange because there are twists, turns and thorns. Life is not a bed of roses. We need to work hard for success. The message of the poem is that success follows failure and we must work hard, never give up and keep going. Shortsighted Brothers. The Shortsighted Brothers is a folklore. It is a story of 3 brothers who lived in a large house in China. The youngest brother wanted to manage their finances, so he gave the reason that the elder brother could not see how much money he was giving and receiving, and people took advantage of him. All brothers decided to do an eye test and decided that whoever will be able to read the new inscription written on the tablet placed outside the monastery will take care of the finances. All the 3 brothers were greedy and selfish and tried to deceive each other. They had called the monk one day before to inquire about it. The second youngest brother asked about the decoration on the tablet. The youngest brother asked if there was anything else written on the tablet. The next day, the brothers went to the monastery and acted like they are reading the inscription. The eldest brother read it as it is and thought that he passed the test. The second youngest brother told about the floral decoration around the tablet. The youngest brother read the donor's name Wangley written at the bottom of the tablet and thought he passed the test. Later the monk came to the brothers and said sorry because the new tablet was not ready and was not kept outside the monastery building. The brothers felt ashamed of their act and realized how foolish they were. The message of the story is that the saying honesty is the best policy is suitable to human life. Next answer, Playing the Game. Playing the Game is a short story. It was taken from My Magazine. It was written by author Henry Mee. He was an English writer and journalist. The story is about a boy named Alan. Alan loves to play cricket. He learned from his father. Alan got selected in the school cricket team match. Father promised to buy him a bicycle if he won the match. Alan's mother was also excited. On the day of the match, he could not go as he helped an old man. The old man fell down due to loose stone on the road. Later, police came and Alan ran and went to play the match. Harold Banks was playing in his place. Alan was sad and went home. He was surprised to see a new bicycle at home. The police informed Alan's father about Alan's good work. Everyone clapped for Alan at school next day. Message of the story is that we should do the right things at the right time and always help others. Happiness poem. The poem's name is Happiness. It was written by Carl August Sandburg. He was an American poet. He wrote famous biography on Abraham Lincoln. He's searching for the meaning of happiness. He went to professors and executives, but they did not give a satisfactory answer. They only shook their heads and smiled at him. On one Sunday afternoon, he went to the Des Plaines River. He saw a group of Hungarians under a tree. They have a keg of beer and an accordion in their hands. He understood the true meaning of happiness. The message of the poem is that happiness is living in the present moment and keeping family close to us. So these Hungarians were with their women and children. This point also you can mention here. Next one. The Five Boons of Life. The Five Boons of Life is a short story. It was written by Mark Twain. He was an American author, humorist, and lecturer. He is known as the father of American literature. The story is about the downfall of an unfortunate man who had self-pride. It tells that it is important to make right decisions and right choices in life. It tells the difference between the short and long-lived pleasures of life. When a fairy comes to a young man and offers him to choose one gift from her basket of five boons, gifts that is love, pleasure, fame, wealth and death, the man first chooses pleasure, but it very soon comes to an end and he feels disappointed. The fairy appears again with rest of the gifts and this time the man chooses love. The person who he loved the most died. He felt that love is a treacherous trader. Okay, means मतलब धोखा देने वाली चीज होती है love. The third time he chose fame, thinking that he would become popular, but later on he got shame. Each time the fairy saw the man made a wrong choice, she gave a gesture of sadness, sighed. She wanted to teach him a lesson which he didn't learn as he did not have wisdom. The fourth time the man chose wealth, thinking that he can have all the luxuries of life, but he later on becomes poor. The last gift was death, but the fairy cannot give him that because already an innocent child has died in the story. The man now knows that calmness lies in death. He begs for it, but he can't get it. So he realized that the five boons of life and hidden behind these gifts was pain, grief, shame, and poverty. The message of this story is that we must make wise decisions as we are responsible for our choices. Now let us move on to the next one. The Green Champion Thimakka. The lesson's name is The Green Champion Thimakka. It is an article taken from the internet. She is known for her tree planting mission. She has US organization named after her called Thimakka's Resources for Environmental Education. She was married to Chikaya but had no children for 25 years. She first decided to end her life but later planted trees with husband. She planted 10 saplings of banyan trees and every year increased the number. She planted total 8,000 trees on Kuddur village road. Her pension was only 500 rupees but she did hard work for the environment. She got new title called Salu Marada, meaning a row of trees in Kannada language. Message of the lesson is plant and protect trees as they protect us and our environment. Now let us move on to the next one. Father Dear Father. The lesson's name is Father Dear Father. It was written by Raj Kinga. It is an imaginary letter published like an article in the Hindu newspaper. Rahul wrote a letter to express his mental pain. He writes to his father because Father scolded him as he lost quarter mark in English exam. He came to second rank from the first. Rahul wrote four conflicting points in the letter, that is father and grandfather. Father studies tough subjects but not useful in today's life. Grandfather enjoyed life and also studied. Mother and grandmother, mother is always in tension but grandmother is always calm and relaxed. Biology teacher and rose plant, after studying so much teacher doesn't know how to solve real life problems, then why should I study? Attitude of teachers, they don't want to change for benefit of students. Message of the lesson is that we need to have joyful education system and remove Indian education system. Joy de vivre. Okay, we need joy de vivre. There is a problem in the mindsets of parents and teachers. So over here, joyful education means joy de vivre. Okay. The Beggar. The poem's name is The Beggar. It was written by Dr. Amanki Venugopal. It was translated into English by Dr. N. Surendra. The original name of the poem is Bichagadu. He is from Alampalli, Hyderabad. He studied in Osmania University. He won Kaloji Narayana Rao Award in 2015. In the poem, he talks about the bad condition of farmers. Farmers feed millions of people, but their own stomach is always empty. Farmers' problems are that they have dusky eyes, hunchback, blood-tinged footprints. If we see a beggar at our threshold door, we should not ignore because it is our own farmer. The message of the poem is that we should understand the pain of farmers and bring friendly solution to their problems. Okay, let us move on to the next one, The Noble Nature. The poem's name is The Noble Nature. It was written by Ben Jonson. He was the second most popular English dramatist after William Shakespeare. His famous work is Comedy of Humors, Every Man in His Humor. In the poem, he compares man to two things, that is an oak tree and a lily. Oak tree lives for 300 years but does not have noble qualities. Lily lives only for one day but spreads sweet smell and attracts with beauty. Lily flower has noble qualities. The poem tells to make life useful and meaningful. Message of the poem is quality matters but not quantity. We should become like a lily flower but not like an oak tree. Dinner Party. The Dinner Party is a short story. It was written by Mona Gardner. She was an American author. It was published in the Saturday Review of Literature 1941. A colonial officer and his wife hosted a dinner party and invited 20 people. Army officers, government officials, and an American naturalist were the guests. There was a debate between a young girl and a colonel in the party. The colonel said that during problems, women usually scream and have less control than men. The young girl said that women have progressed and they don't get scared seeing a rat now and they have developed better self-control. When everyone's attention was at the debate, the American naturalist saw a strange expression on the face of the hostess, Mrs. Vines. She calls the waiter and speaks to him in a low voice. The waiter goes and places a bowl of milk on the veranda. American naturalist realizes that there is a cobra snake in the party and searches for it and finds it under the table. He creates a game of 300 seconds for the guest and they can't move and become statue for 300 seconds, and if they move they will have to pay 50 rupees as punishment. He didn't want to create panic in the party. In the last 20 seconds the cobra came out from under the table and went outside towards the bowl of milk, and the American naturalist locks the room. Naturalist asked Mrs. Vines that how did she know that the cobra was in the room. She said, because it was crawling over my foot. This proves that Mrs. Vines was his true hero as she showed better nerve control. The message of the story is that both men and women are equally brave and can have better control of a situation. Okay, so this was the last lesson. So these were the easy answers, but for the students who can really write well in English, for them I have already uploaded these answers. Okay, you can check out on my playlist.